beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're doing a little Ulta haul. I picked up a bunch of new drugstore goodies and we're gonna try them all out. I'm gonna show you everything that I ordered, I'm gonna swatch everything, I'm gonna demonstrate everything. This is a little haul with some first impressions, little try on haul. We have a lot of products, so let's get into it. I have 10 new products to try out today. It's from e.l.f., Essence, Wet n Wild, and Catrice. So let's dive into it. Let's start with my e.l.f. products first, since those are the first things that I put on my face. First up is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This is a satin finish and I have the shade Fair Beige. This is priced at $6 US, and it does have one of those big old cupped dough foots, very similar to the Tarte Shape Tape. And to go along with it, I got this e.l.f. Camo Concealer Sponge. The sponge is retail priced at $5 US. I'm going to show you a little side-by-side here of the sponge when it's dry versus when it's wet, so you can see sort of the size difference. I'm really surprised at how soft this sponge is. A lot of the more affordable sponges tend to be a little bit more tough, a little bit more rigid, and this one is really, really soft. I've never used a sponge with this exact shape. I've seen a lot of sponges with that hourglass shape like the L'Oreal one, or with the little wedge shape like the Real Techniques or ColourPop ones. So this is definitely a unique sponge for me. I'm a big sponge fan, so I definitely knew that I wanted to order this one when I saw it, especially since I was getting the camo concealer and it says that they're made to work together. I didn't wear any foundation, I'm just wearing this concealer. I haven't really been wearing a lot of foundation lately. I also feel that when I'm trying out a new concealer, this is a great way to see truly how it works, what the coverage is like. So I'm just applying the concealer to a moisturized face, of course using the damp sponge. I feel like I got a decent shade match on this Hydrating Camo Concealer. I'll definitely need to bump up my shade a little bit deeper, a little bit warmer once the summer months roll around, but I got a good shade match, so I was happy with that. Overall, I felt like the concealer blended out really easily. It didn't have quite as much coverage as I was expecting, but definitely happy with how it worked with the sponge. And the finished product is quite nice. Even though every little spot and bump isn't fully covered up, I got very evened out. I don't feel like my skin looked dry or cakey or flaky. So while the concealer wasn't really life-changing for me, I do think that it looks nice on my skin. I'm overall very happy with it. I was a lot more excited and pleased with the sponge than the concealer, but the concealer wasn't bad, just sort of middle of the road for me. But again, this is only my first time using it, so I may end up using it more and loving it more as I finesse my use of this concealer. But for now, just kind of average, not really mad about it, just okay. The next thing that I used on my face is from Wet n Wild. This is their micro brow pencil. I purchased the shade Deep Brown and this is priced at $4.49 US. Again, this was a pretty standard product for me. It wasn't too soft to where it was crumbling and kind of falling apart in my brows, but it also wasn't too hard and waxy where I was really having to work too hard to get any sort of pigmentation out of it. This is another one that's just a little bit middle of the road for me. I liked it. I'm happy with how it performed. I'm not jumping out of my chair to rave about it, but it worked well. I feel like it's a good price. I wish they had a couple more shades. I think there were only 3 color options available, so it'd be nice for them to expand the shade range a little bit. Overall, a good brow pencil. I'm glad there's a spoolie on one end. Happy with it. Not changing my life, but again, not mad at it. Now let's talk about these blushes from Essence. This is literally called The Blush. I picked up 2 shades. One is more of a brownish nude called Bespoke, and then more of a warm mauve-y type of shade called Befitting. These were an insanely good deal. They were only $2.99 a piece. I could tell from the moment that I swatched these blushes that they were going to be really, really nice. I ended up just using Befitting today. Absolutely blown away by the performance. It was smooth and pigmented, but not so intensely pigmented that I felt intimidated by applying it. The finish on the skin is really nice, has this soft satiny look to it. I'm very happy with both shades that I chose. I know I will continue to use these. I can't believe these are $2.99 a piece. I mean, the packaging is a little bit cheapy feeling. It's just this very inexpensive little clear plastic packaging, but I'm not mad at that because I'm getting a really beautiful looking blush for $3. I'll take it. I will take some chintzy packaging if the product inside is going to be this good and this affordable. I do have one more cheek product to talk about. You know, you gotta get some glow, and this is some new glow at the drugstore. This is from Wet n Wild. It's called Hello Halo Blush Lighter, and I got the shade Highlight Bling. This one's priced at $6.49 US. I did end up using both shades in this blush lighter compact. I used the bright icy white side to do my cheekbone highlight, and then I ended up taking a little bit of this shimmery peachy blush lighter and pulled that down on top of my blush a little bit below my highlighter to get an all over glowy cheek look. I've always been a fan of the Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighter, so I'm not at all surprised that I was really pleased with this. It's bright without being glittery. The only thing I will say is when I was dipping my brush into these powders, because they are quite soft, I did get a decent amount of powder kick up. Got that little powder explosion everywhere when I would put my brush in. So make sure that you're tapping your brush off a little bit before you actually go in to use the product. But to me, I don't see that as a negative because it just means that you're getting a really silky, soft, and typically beautifully pigmented product when you are getting some of that kickback. But I just felt like I should mention it since it was part of my experience. So that is the Hello Halo Blush Lighter. That's a cute name. That's pretty cute. Now let's talk lips. These are some new lipsticks from e.l.f. Cosmetics. These are the Seriously Satin lipsticks. I ordered 2 shades. These are priced at $3 a piece. And the 2 shades that I picked up are this berry pinky shade called Taffy. And then, you know me, had to go for the warm nude. That's the one that I'm actually wearing throughout the video. This one's called Nectar. I love satin finish lipsticks. That's probably my favorite overall finish for lips. I do feel that these are a little bit more on the drier end of the satin finish spectrum. I was hoping for something a little bit more creamy and hydrating. Now the pigmentation is beautiful on these. These are one swipe coverage type of lip products, which is great, and especially for a $3 lipstick, it's a fantastic color payoff. I just wish they were a little bit more hydrating. I've been wearing this lip color for about 2 hours now, and I do feel like it's getting a little bit dry, getting a little bit of a crusty lip feeling. Now it's not sucking the life out of my lips like a MAC Retro Matte lipstick would do, but I do find myself having to sort of wipe off my lips and get rid of some of the little crusties. So maybe I would feel differently about these if they were marketed as a more matte product, but they just didn't live up to that satin finish that I was looking for. I really wanted to love these, but so far it's just not living up to my expectation. Just not really my favorite. Sorry, e.l.f. The last 2 products in this haul are 2 little eyeshadow palettes. This is where things really start to go in 2 separate directions for me. I did pick up one of these little e.l.f. bite-size eyeshadow palettes, which is such a cute name for an eyeshadow palette that's this small. So this is the bite-size eyeshadow palette in the shade Hot Jalapeno. This was priced at $3. It's really cute. It's definitely a good price. I have a couple of qualms. First of all, if you're gonna call it Hot Jalapeno and then put a cool toned green in there, you're really gonna throw me off. I definitely noticed in swatching this little palette that the shimmers were a lot easier to swatch than the mattes. And once you see the demo where I use these 2 palettes, that theme is going to continue to occur. But we'll get to that in the eye tutorial. The other eyeshadow palette that I picked up is this one from Catrice, and it's actually in collaboration with a creator, Iman or Amon. I'm so sorry if I say your name wrong. I actually hadn't heard of this person. I really briefly looked her up. I love to see creator collabs, and this one definitely caught my eye. This is the most expensive item that I picked up in this haul. It was $11.99. It was worth every single penny. Again, you're gonna see that play out more once we get into the demo, but I do want to show you. This is a little 9-pan palette. It does have a mirror in here. It does have cardboard magnetic packaging. This little palette has a great range of neutral shadows. We have a mix of mattes and shimmers. I think the packaging is really cute. It matches the shades inside. Before I get into too many details about the performance, let's just take a quick look at me using these two eyeshadow palettes to create the look I'm wearing today. And then I'll just wrap up my thoughts at the end after you get a chance to see how these actually perform on the eye. I already had my lids primed with my MAC paint pot, and I'm just setting that eye base with a little bit of this cream shade called Fairfax. Then I'm going into this warm sort of camel brown color called Sunset using my favorite blending brush from ColourPop. I'm putting that in the crease and pulling it up and down a little bit. I really want a nice warm look here, and I'm also applying that to my lower lash line. Next, I'm taking the lighter matte green from the Hot Jalapeno palette and trying to apply it with a small fluffy brush. I was just hardly getting any color payoff here. I tried my best to really layer it up, and I just had trouble getting any sort of blendability. It just looked very patchy and very muddy to me. So I did my best to try to build up some of that lighter matte green. And next I went into the darker matte green, again with a small little fluffy brush, and really tried to get some more depth on the outer part of the eye. This wasn't quite as bad, but I was just still having trouble getting any sort of opacity. I did my best, it's just not showing up. Now, the shimmers are a different story. I used some of this green shimmer shade, applied that with my finger, worked really nicely, really easily. Very much a standard shimmer performance for me. Next, I went in with the really deep brown matte from that Catrice palette on a small flat brush and just tried to fix the sins of those matte greens. And lastly, I used this light shimmery pink called Melrose with my pinky finger, applied that to the inner corner. This is a really soft, subtle, kind of nude inner corner highlight, and I really like it with this more bold look. Overall, I'm glad that I tried these palettes, glad that I tried a more colorful look, and on to my thoughts. I am so impressed with the performance and the quality of this palette. Given I haven't used every single shade on my eyes yet, but the shades that I did use blended so nicely. When it comes to drugstore palettes, I tend to not expect them to be really great or really impressive, and I'm actually really impressed by this. The mattes in particular were so easy to blend. They were not patchy, they went on smoothly, they stayed true to color on the eye. This palette basically saved my look because the mattes in this Hot Jalapeno palette were not working for me at all. Even if I wasn't inherently comparing these two palettes, I would still be impressed with the performance of this. I definitely see myself going back to use this again and again. This would be a great little travel palette. Catrice has been very hit or miss with me, and typically their eyeshadows have not been stellar, so they really killed it with this palette. Congratulations to Aman, their collaborator, because this little palette she made is stunning and really wonderful quality. Now, when it comes to the little bite-size palette, the shimmers are great. The mattes just didn't really work well for me. They didn't show up true to color on the eye. They muddied up. They were streaky. I had a hard time getting them to even show up at all. The shimmer that I used in my look, beautiful, one swipe. The inconsistency is really what bothers me the most. I'll have to look because I know they have a lot of different versions of these bite-size palettes. If they had an all shimmer one, I'd be all in. I'd be willing to try another shade because Sometimes these colorful mattes can be difficult. They can be tricky to formulate. These just didn't work well for me. I would try another one, especially since it's only $3, but overall I was a little bit disappointed with the Hot Jalapeno palette. Like I said in the beginning, this is my first time using these. I just received this little haul that I ordered from Ulta. I will definitely continue to give some of the more lackluster products in this haul a try and see if maybe I can finesse them into being not just middle of the road. I'm not gonna write this stuff off entirely, but I do have a few automatic standouts. For me, the absolute best products that I purchased so far, this sponge, very impressed, super soft, love this shape, especially as somebody who's really just wearing concealer now and I've kind of moved away from wearing as much foundation. This is gonna work well for me. Hopefully it holds up to a good amount of washes. This material is great, shape is great, love this sponge, top notch purchase. These blushes are beautiful and so affordable. I love the shades, I love the performance. These are right on top of the pile for me. Really impressed with these little Essence The Blush blushes. And I'm sure that this isn't a surprise, but this Catrice and Iman eyeshadow palette is so good. I'm so impressed. I'm so happy with this. This is in my top 3 products for sure. Highly recommend. I'm glad that the most expensive product in my haul ended up being one of the best. I feel like my money was well spent. I'm pretty sure that she has other products in her collaboration. I think she had a highlighter palette and a blush palette. I'm 100% on board to try those now because I was so happy with the quality and performance of the eyeshadow. If you're in the market for a neutral palette, I'd recommend checking this out. This is so nice. Very happy with this. I also like this Wet n Wild little highlighting duo palette. It's on the top for me, but I wouldn't say top 3. I'd still recommend it. I'm still gonna use it. It just wasn't better than the blushes. Those are all my new drugstore items. I hope that you enjoyed this haul. I hope you found it informative. I would love to hear what drugstore products you've been loving lately. Is there anything new on the market that you'd like to see me try out on my channel? I get so many good recommendations from you guys and I really appreciate that. So keep them coming. Leave all your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye! What? Huh? Seriously. Huh? What are you talking about? See, I wear green eyeshadow and I get all thrown off. Where was I? Now I'm lost. Not so much. The name's probably the best thing about it. Ooh, awkward. My memory card's about to run out. Sorry. This little palette has a huh? Who? Me? You, me, him, her, me, him, me. Okay. Sorry for that Night at the Roxbury reference. And I have just shown my age with that one. So I don't know. I'm as lost as you are at this point, if that makes sense. Grammar? I don't know her. I feel like I'm so all over the place. Who is she with this green eyeshadow? Who is she? Okay, I'm gonna go eat lunch now. So I'm hungry. It's lunchtime. This lipstick has gotta go. I'm over it. Yay. Okay, bye!